just for like the intro here, guys, this is a tier list. This is going to be centered towards casual queues, towards solo queue. Excuse me. Sorry, I couldn't think of the right word. Solo queue tier list. This is going to be, you know, what you can play to win most of your games or to give yourself a better chance of winning your games. I will probably bring up competitive a couple of times, but that's not really what I'm basing this tier list off of. This is going to be, if you were to load up Predecessor right now and hit the play button alone in a solo queue environment, what should you play to win games? That's what this tier list is going to be. That's the briefer for you guys. So we're going to jump into this. Start with the bottom tier. I'm just going to go alphabetical. All right. Alphabetical. Countess, B tier. If you are a Countess specialist, you can make this character look really, really good. If you are not a Countess specialist, you will probably throw most of your games by picking this character. I wouldn't play her in mid. If you're going to play her in the jungle. I don't think she's very good in the offlane. You can carry games with this character, but generally speaking, I think you have to. This is a character that you have to be good at to carry your games. I'm gonna call her a specialist kind of character. If you're really good at Countess, you can play her and win. If you're not good at Countess, don't play her. Crunch. I think Crunch has moved down a little bit for me because I like Crunch has been S tier for a really long time. I'm gonna sit him in A+ for right now. He could move up. Really strong character. You can play him in the... I think he's one of the best offlaners in the game. You can play him in the jungle too. I think this character is really good. I think that there are certain bruisers in this game that stop Crunch from playing, and that can be really bad. So he's a little bit... He's 10% more matchup dependent than some of the better characters that I'm going to put above him. But still very strong. Dekker. I think Dekker's a really reliable pick. I think that she... Like, you just have so much utility on this character. I think if you're hitting stun balls, she's really good. If you're, like, if you have a good aim, if you're good at playing Dekker, if you know how to use your mobility, this character can look really, really good. I think I'm going to leave her in solid. She could, like, this could be A+ for me, but I'm going to leave her in solid. She's a very reliable pick. I don't think she's number one, but very, very solid. Drongo, same thing. Very, very solid, reliable carry. You have good damage, you have a little bit of burst when you combo everything together, solid laning phase, decent team fight, no mobility outside of your ultimate. I think that's fine. I think this character uses the current like carry builds pretty well. I think he's solid. Feng Mao, I think I'm gonna put Feng Mao, I don't know, he's probably the same as Countess for me. I really want to put Feng Mao in A tier, but realistically, I think unless you are a very good Feng Mao player, you probably will not win most of your games. I think that you will lose some games if you try to play this character and you're not very good at him. I do think he is good. I think assassins are pretty good right now, especially in solo queue. But I don't know if I would be able to put him in A tier. Gadget. I think I'm going to put her in B tier. I think this character is too slow. She just doesn't really do anything for like 12 minutes. And I think that's too slow. I mean, if you don't have Mega Cosm online, and that's 12 minutes assuming you're going Mega first. If you go Alkrod into Mega, I mean, we're talking like 18 minutes into the game before you do meaningful damage. And I just think it's too slow. I don't think she's very good right now. Gideon dropped a bit after the nerfs to his portal. No super jump anymore. Your mobility is a little more limited. But I do think that he's still a very solid mid laner. Still has, comparatively to other mid laners, really, really, really good mobility. Good burst damage, really solid ultimate. Once you learn that you can ult through walls, this character gets much better. I think that character is just solid all around. Great. I think Greystone's fucking busted. Legitimately, this is, I'm going to say, top 3 characters in the game. I think this character is just absolutely... I just don't have words for what they've done to this character. This character is just insane to me. It's wild that this character is allowed to exist in the state that he's in. You're unkillable. You outbox, you win every single 1v1 that you're ever going to take. You can't die in team fights. Even with the nerf to Unbroken Will, which hurt Greystone a lot, by the way, I still think you're just so hard to kill that this character is just really good. You can play mid-fight, you can play as a diver, you're not really a backline peel character, but your mid-fight disruption's so good. This character is just bonkers. Grux. This character, I would normally, if you look at my last tier list, I think he was probably like C tier. The more that I play Grux, the better that I think this character is. I almost want to put him in A+ tier. In solo queue, I legitimately, this might be the biggest glow up of any character through one patch. I legitimately think that Grux is one of the best solo queue characters that you can play. I think he is really good in the offlane. In the jungle, even, I think he's still decent. He's not the best jungler because your clear is slow. Your clear is really healthy, but it's really slow. But I think that this character could be really good. Could be really good. I'm not 100% positive, but as of right now, like, I kind of want to put him in A+. I think this character is, you just win lane every time, and you're such a bully. You can take jungle camps without griefing your own HP bar. I think he's just got it. I think that buff was huge. Yo, Kilo, if you wait until after the tier list, I'll answer questions like that if you wait. But I'm not going to do it during the tier list. Howitzer. I'm tempted to put him in A+ tier because I think if you're really good at Howitzer, this character is pretty good. But I think I'm going to put him in A tier. Howitzer's one of the more skill-dependent heroes in the game. You don't have fantastic mobility. Your positioning has to be good, but you have really good kill pressure. So I think that this character can be good. I think he's similar to Gideon. Like, solid ultimate, solid burst damage. Your positioning, you have to be more careful on your positioning on Howitzer than you do on Gideon. But you can set up your team. You can peel for your team. I think he's a solid character. Kallari. I think Kallari is a little bit better than the other assassins right now, just because of stealth. It's just easier to move around the map as Kallari than it is as Feng Mao. And I think that's about it. I think they do very similar jobs. You just destroy carries until like the 28-minute mark. And I think that's really valuable in solo queue. If you're good at getting picks, then this character's really good. She just moves around the map a little bit easier than these other assassins. Khaimera. It's fucking Khaimera, man. In solo queue, this character is just like, just fucking hold W, sprint it, and you can win games on this character. The main thing that I think is really good on this character in solo queue is objective control. You can get every objective in a game if you play Khaimera because you can pull them so much earlier than anyone else that people don't expect it, they don't respect it, that kind of thing. I think this character will just always be good in solo queue. Again, at a competitive level, I think this character falls off quite a bit, but in solo queue, I think he's quite good. Kira. Probably the second best carry right now. Very solid. Mobility is so important for carries right now. I think having a carry with mobility is really, really big. Decent ultimate, good burst damage, good trading in lane. Wave clear's low, but with Stormbreaker still being as good as it is, I don't think that matters very much. I think this character is probably the second best carry. Belica, solo queue, one of the better mid laners. Because of if you go Alchemical Rod on Belica, the amount of power that you have late game is so much more than what other mid laners can amass, that it allows you to one-shot people when other mid laners wouldn't have been able to kill them. And I think that that's really, really valuable. So I think that Belica is probably a little bit higher. You punish people, you have a lock-on, right? You can't miss your ultimate, obviously, which makes it just... It just intrinsically gets more value. I think this character is pretty good in solo queue. Morigesh, possibly the worst character in the game right now. I think this character is complete dog ass. And obviously, for those of you guys that have followed the channel for a while, you guys know that I hate Morigesh just as a kit. Like, all of her abilities, I really just don't like them. I just think this character is bad. I just don't know when I would want a Morigesh over literally any other character in the game. This character, the only time this character is useful is after 2 items, and that's only if she's like 10-0. I think that a Morigesh who's even with the enemy mid laner is just going to be worse than them all the time. I just don't think that I just don't think she does enough. I think she's really bad. Murdock, same as Drongo. reliable carry, good ultimates, good escapability, good crowd control on this guy. A little bit lower auto attack damage, uses a Nixian quiver really well, good against tanks. Your ultimate, again, you can snipe kills across the map, which allows you to get, you know, just more gold than you would be able to get on other carries, like just organically. Solid character, nothing insane on Murdock. Muriel, again, solo queue, tier list. Muriel's dog. Don't play this character in solo queue unless if you are duo queued with your carry or other people on your team, you can get away with Muriel. If you are truly solo queued, I do not recommend it. I think you rely too much on your teammates. You don't get to make ginormous plays on this character. You don't get to force your team to win the game. You can't hard carry on Muriel. I just don't think she's that good in solo queue. Narbash, probably the best solo queue support, which is really weird that my reasoning on Narbash and versus Muriel, because these characters, you're like, hey, those characters kind of do the same thing. They really don't. Narbash has hard CC set up for his team. He can peel. His ultimate is, in my opinion, probably just better Muriel ultimate, like 80% of the time. Like Muriel ult, the shield obviously is an outlier, but like the knock-up on Muriel ult, unreliable. Knock-up on Narbash ult, unreliable until you learn how to play Narbash. Healing is insane still. They nerfed it, doesn't matter. The healing on this character is nuts. Speed boost, again, you can get your team in, you can get your team out. Hard CC is a big one. Narbash is just an absolute beast right now. I think he's an absolute beast. Let's see. Moving on. Phase, same as Muriel. I don't think that you can hard carry. I don't think you can hard carry your games on Phase. That's it. I think you're too team dependent. I almost want to put Phase and Muriel down here in the if you are solo queued, just don't play these heroes area. But I think you can. Again, if you're really, really good at these heroes, you might be able to force your team to win games. I just don't think they're very good in solo queue. Rampage. Borderline S tier for me. This character is so hard to kill that I think he's like borderline S tier in solo queue. He's so difficult to deal with. Again, when you are playing against an uncoordinated team, he is so hard to kill that you can do just absolutely illegal shit and get away with it, and I think that's pretty valuable. Revenant. Situational carry. Good when he's good, but bad when he's bad, in my opinion. Again, like, if you get a lead on this character, you're really, like, you're good to go. If the enemy duo lane doesn't know how to play the lane, you're gonna bully them. I don't know. I'm not sold on Rev right now. Like, he could probably be A+ in solo queue. I don't know exactly where I place him. I don't play a lot of carry, so I'm not positive on this, but he feels kind of A tier to me. Riktor, another character that forces your team to win the game. Your team might not know how to engage, but it's really easy to hit someone who got hooked out of the enemy team and into your team. It's really easy to do that. I think this character, if you hit hooks, you win game. You love Countess in solo queue. I put Countess in B tier because I think if you are a Countess specialist or someone who's really good at Countess, you can play her and you can win games. I think if you are not a Countess specialist, if you are not good at Countess, you shouldn't play her. I think you will lose every game if you're not good at that character. That's why she's in B tier. Serath, maybe the best solo queue jungler. This character's nuts. She's nuts. They nerfed her. She's still nuts. It doesn't matter. Until they nerf her passive, this character will be insane. You do, again, similar to Rampage, but better. You can just do so much illegal shit on this character. If you get one kill on this character, you instantly win a team fight. And I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I think you just instantly win a team fight if you get a kill. I think this character is absolutely infuriating. And again, solo queue, when you are playing against uncoordinated teams, this character just thrives. In competitive, this character is pretty bad because against a coordinated team, if you get stunned, you are going to instantly die. But against a solo queue team, an uncoordinated team, even if they stun you, are you going to get focused fired enough to instantly die? Maybe, but maybe not. And if they stun you and you live, then now they don't have a stun for you and you just win the game. I think this character is nuts in solo queue. She's absolutely insane. Sevarog. Probably, I don't know, man. This character, if you know how to rotate, like, if you're playing jungle or solo, and you know your power spikes on this character, he's really good. If you know, like, if you are playing solo lane Sevarog, and you know when and how to rotate on this character, I think he's really good. I think if you are playing jungle, and you know how to use your power spikes, he's really good. If you don't know how to, like, if you don't understand when this character is strong in the game, then I think you're going to struggle a little bit. But he does stat check so many people at, like, the 15-minute mark. Like, between 12 and 25 minutes, you can just stat check anyone on the enemy team, and that's really valuable. That's really strong. So I think you can get away with that. Shinbi. I still don't think this character is insane. I really don't. I think she's fine. I think she's an okay jungler. She's a better jungler than an offlaner, in my opinion. Because she can power farm so fast, you can get really big. But if you're going to pick a power farming jungler, you are depending on your team to not lose their lanes. And I think that's really important. That the thought process behind picking a jungler Shinbi will outfarm most junglers in the game. Just how she rolls. But if you are trying to just outfarm the enemy jungler, you depend on your team to not get behind in lane. And if they get behind in lane, it really hurts what you want to do as a character. So you are team dependent, even though you feel like kind of an assassin, a 1v1 kind of character. You are team dependent in a different way. And I think that hurts her viability a little bit. In the solo lane, I think she's okay. She has bad matchups against all the good characters right now, so I don't recommend playing her. But in the jungle, she's okay. Steel, borderline the best character in the game. Even in solo queue. This is the one team-reliant character that I think you play in solo queue. Like, most of these top S, A+ kind of characters are not team-reliant, right? Like, Riktor, Narbash, team-reliant to an extent, right? Lots of setup on these characters that makes it, like, to where your team actually just kind of has to be brain-dead to not follow up on it. Steel, as a solo laner, just insane. You can't lose lane ever on this character. If you're losing lane, you're bad. I'm sorry. Just how it goes. You can't lose lane. You outbox people. You can get solo kills. Your team fight is really, really good. You can just solo the enemy backline if you have to. Like, Steel will just solo kill carries for the majority of the game. Until, like, 35 minutes, he'll just solo kill carries. I think this character is just bonkers. So, yeah, maybe the best character in the game. Like, if I were to order this tier list, it'd probably be these two in my top two, to be honest. Steel and Greystone are probably my top two. Faye, solo queue mid laner? Maybe number one. As a solo queue mid laner, I think I'm going to put her S tier. Especially, and this is a small asterisk on this, if you pick Faye against an enemy support that doesn't want to build the cleanse. So the cleanse, the support cleanse item is it's Consort Crest. It's like the magic power crest. So most Riktors, Steels, even a lot of Dekkers don't want to build it. If you pick Faye against those characters and they don't build cleanse, I think you can just win the game for your team by pressing R in every fight. On top of that, you have really good lane boxing, all that kind of stuff. I think she's really good. Faye's stinky. I would be happy with her in A tier because, and I think I'm going to move her down. Still good for all the reasons that I just said. But looking at the characters we have left, you'll understand. I'm going to leave her an A+, because in solo queue, I think she's in solo queue tier list. We're not talking comp. Grady, shut up. We're not talking about comp scene. I think she's good in solo queue. Twinblast, best carry in the game. I legitimately don't think that there's any way. I don't even know if I could hear an argument that has any ground to it as to why Twinblast isn't the best ADC in the game. They buffed him. If you go look at any tier list from the last patch from like 3 weeks ago, TB was probably S tier on those tier lists. And then they buffed him, which is wild. It's crazy. I don't know how they got away with that, but they buffed him. Probably the best carry in the game. This character is insane. You're super safe. Your dash is on such a low cooldown. It resets when you hit autos. It actually resets when you hit your ultimate as well. It resets when you hit people with bullets. This character's just, I don't fucking know. This character's insane. Zarus. One of the better solo queue solo laners, in my opinion. In the jungle, I will say, I think he's playable in the jungle. I think he is much better in the solo lane than he is in the jungle. I think that he's playable. You can jungle Zarus and you can win games, but I think he's better in the solo lane. You're a lane bully. You have really good rotations. Your team fight's pretty good. You can build a lot of items. He has decent matchups against a lot of the other good offlaners right now, which is also pretty big. I think this character is very, very reliable. He's very solid. I think you win lane most of the time. Like, into anything but a steal, you just win lane. I think that's pretty valuable. Sparrow, I'm tempted to put her in C tier. I just don't know when you want to play Sparrow. That's my issue with this character. Is like, what does the enemy team have to look like to make me say, I'd rather play Sparrow here than Twinblast? That's just what I want to know. What's the enemy team comp that makes you say, let's play Sparrow instead of Twinblast? Twinblast is just Sparrow, but better. They do the same thing, except Twinblast is better at it. So, I don't know. I think this character is pretty bad. I'm tempted to put her in C tier, because I really think in solo queue, you shouldn't play this character. I'm going to put her in C tier. In solo queue, don't play Sparrow. Zarus beats Crunch until level 6. He hard wins, yeah. Very hard wins. Wraith. I'm tempted to put Wraith in S tier as a mid laner. As a carry, he's probably A. I think he's a solid carry. As a mid laner, I'm tempted to put him in S tier. I think this character is bonkers in the mid lane. I think this character is insane. You have so much burst damage. You have good lane control. You can go a couple different builds that augment you for like AoE damage versus single target, stuff like that. He has invis to get away. He has really reliable wards. He can de-ward the mid lane so that your jungler has easier ganks. I just think he's so good. Rewind is such an OP ability. I just think this character is really good. I just think he's good. And then last but not least, Iggy Scorch. I think he's okay. In solo queue, when you're playing with an uncoordinated team, it can be really hard to get your team in the right spot at the right time to make Iggy work. Iggy really has to be early to objectives and stuff like that. And in solo queue, it can be really hard to force your team to be in the right spot when you want to be there. That's my only issue with Iggy. But I do think he does a lot of damage. He has good area denial, really good objective shred, just harder to play in solo queue. Iggy's B tier, you think? I don't know. I think if you're a good Iggy, you can play him. Here, one sec. Yo, Flying Bird, thank you for the 3-monther, dog. Welcome back to the pin zone. I appreciate it, man. Like, looking at this tier list after everyone's up here, like, I'm probably moving Rampage down, to be honest. Probably not an A+ tier. Again, good for the same reasons I said, but probably not an A+ tier. Let's see. Like, I really want to move Muriel and FaZe down here. I don't think you should play them in solo queue. I really don't. When do you want Iggy over other mid laners? If you have a Wraith, Iggy's really good. If you have a Wraith playing carry, Iggy becomes infinitely better in the mid lane, in my opinion. Because he covers Wraith's weakness of low damage, of low consistent damage really, really well. Exactly what Iggy does is consistent damage. Again, I'm not saying Iggy's the best. Like, I think you could comfortably put Iggy in B tier. But, like, this S tier, I think, is pretty solid. Again, for solo queue. In competitive, obviously, Serath just plummets in competitive. But for solo queue, like, this S tier is just good. Situational. I mean, even if I'm moving down, I don't think that's crazy. Like, he's probably worse than Gideon and Howitzer. I think he's... I'd rather have an Iggy than a Gadget most games. But still, I mean, like, all of these characters, I think, are just hard to play. Like, a couple of these, like, Countess and Feng Mao, you have to be really good at them to get value. The other ones of these, just weird situations to play.